We're talking about Hawkeye. We're talking about itty bitty Hawkeye. Hawkeye.
Merry Mini Monday Chunkies. I'm Carter.
I'm Doge, and I could have sworn Hawkeye was full size on my screen, but my TV's pretty big, not to brag. So that could have been
Oh
it.
man, I'm Jordan, and I thought this was an Ant-Man show.
Guys, it's so fun to say Merry Mini Monday in the season.
Tis the season.
Tis the season.
This
It's
is
actually
one of a small handful that have actually been truly, factually a Merry Mini Monday.
Truly merry. And even with the content of today, it feels extra merry and bright because we are diving back into the MCU with our fourth. That's right. I thought 3 until about 2 minutes ago, but the
When
MCU
you
keeps
remembered
turning them
Falcon
out.
and the Winter Soldier existed?
Yes, sir. Our fourth MCU television show, Hawkeye. And we're here. And we're finally to this
It's
moment.
the fifth. It's the fifth. I'm the only one that's actually
What If?
invested
I'm
because I
sorry.
watched What If.
I'm
Yeah.
sorry.
The only
that
one that
is
actually
canon. If it's
cares
MCU,
about
it's
these
canon.
super folks.
I'm
but
so sorry. I'm so sorry.
Yeah,
Yes.
if anybody
The
knows anything
fifth.
about me, I just don't care for any of this. I don't like any of it.
This is just not your flavor.
It's not my jam.
And as much as I love having complete control of Mini Monday,
Sure.
it is hard for me to start diving into a story without giving the reins, giving Santa's reins over to Jordan Wonders to kind of walk us through. From what I know, so starting off with Hawkeye, this is one of the stories that I've known the least about. I didn't know about Kate Bishop until I think we started talking. There had been rumors, right? I think around the time of Avengers, when we see this team come together for the first time, which another shout out to 2012, which I think is so smart canonically, to come back to 2012. After the Avengers, we started talking about who will replace eventually, right? I think Easter eggs was on an all-time high when that movie was released because the MCU had pulled off the big team. They did it. They had this lead up, and it was well beyond most of the world's expectations. And so that happens. And I remember Kate Bishop coming up around that time. I remember that someone talking about that. There was who's going to take the mantle? Clint's kid,
Well,
it could totally
I
be
remember
her.
there was a little bit that people thought that instead of Kate Bishop, that it was just going to be, Clint's daughter. Because I think there was a
Lila.
shot of him teaching her to shoot.
Yeah. In
the
Age of
beginning
Ultron.
Endgame.
Yeah. And I
Oh,
would
it
say-
is, isn't it?
Yeah, I
think
thought
it is
so,
the beginning
right?
of
It's right
Endgame.
before. It's when it flashes back and shows them getting dusted from his perspective.
Yeah.
You're right.
But yeah, I think as soon
Such
as
a strong opening.
the great thing too is I am the fan that looks into things in the middle of the fact. That I'm like, wait, who is this? This guy has quite an affinity for swords, which we'll talk about later. I'm like, who is this man?
Who's the swordman?
But
The swordman.
the great thing about comics is once you're in this world, you're always looking for somebody. You're looking for somebody to appear, somebody to show up, and the MCU continues to do a really good job of that. But let's get started with Hawkeye. We had 2 episodes released
Yes, we
here on
did.
Thanksgiving. Honestly, a very appropriate time to release them.
I was giving
And
thanks.
This was definitely I think with how semi-slow the first episode was, this felt like of 2 episodes to do during one Mini Monday time frame, it felt like these were a good 2 to do.
Yeah.
But we're already a third through the season,
Wow.
right? This
That's
is just
crazy.
6 episode season, which makes sense again because I really do think they wanted it to be with the bookends of the holidays, right?
Yeah.
They wanted to start around Thanksgiving, end Christmas. I'm guessing our ending time is like Christmas Eve.
I'm sure
maybe
because
the week before.
every episode so far has taken place over a day. So the count of how many days until Christmas keeps decreasing. It's like 24.
Yeah, exactly.
Right.
Exactly. So, but yeah, we've got a lot of this feeling like they've made extra sure to let us know how much time Clint has left.
Right.
Sure.
Like 5 days until Christmas.
He's
You've got
he's
5
gonna
days to
barely
get back to
make
your
it to
kids.
Christmas. Yeah.
I am already so excited for him dragging his exhausted body in the door to plop on the floor and open Christmas presents. I am so pumped about it.
Can I tell you something though? I think, we talked about the 2012 Avengers. And so after Endgame, when we're seeing that people are actually leaving the MCU, Tony's out, Steve Rogers is basically out.
Yeah.
I can't help but think I've got kind of a looming feeling maybe Clint dies in this show.
Interesting.
Really?
I think Clint might not make it to the end of this season.
Really?
And so
I don't
it's not the
think
kind of
so.
shot you'd want to call, but I don't know.
Yeah.
For me, I think it's virtually out of the question that Jeremy Renner does anymore. Avengers is. I think it's probably a sunsetting of Clint Barton, and he retires and lives on a farm with his wife and children.
I think
Now
that's
that
what
he
we
feels
want.
like Kate Bishop can take the mantle
Yeah.
and kind of do her own thing. Because I think
Clint's-
that's so. As we jump in a little bit here, the line about look, there you are. Oh, they made you a girl, and he says that's Katniss Everdeen is very funny.
It's great.
But also, I think potentially it might be lampshading a little bit. What's going
Yeah.
to end up happening is that she will take up the
I thought
mantle
that
of
too.
Hawkeye.
Yep.
Sure. I think
She's
so
been
too.
Hawkeye in the comics since 2006, I believe, which was actually only a year after she was introduced. She was introduced in 2005 and has been a Hawkeye since 2006.
Cool. Wow. That's awesome.
I love that.
Yeah, Clint's story for me, the through line is it's been really sad. I think most of
Yeah.
Clint's story has been sad. And I can see how it would be like, you know what? Why not at the end, give him the carrot, give him what he wants most, his family for the rest of his life without having to worry about things until,
Sure.
Avengers 8 or something where he shows up
sure.
at the age of 60.
And I love that it seems like this is sort of
It just shows up in Avengeables. And it's all the old Avengers.
Yes.
I definitely would watch that though. Yeah, it seems like I really enjoy the fact that it seems like this series is kind of focusing on him cleaning up his Ronin mess.
Yep.
Sort of
Totally.
the worst, morally the worst thing we've seen Hawkeye do, who tends to be kind of a voice of moral reason
Right.
and
Yeah.
like have a very strong moral compass. The one thing we've seen him do where he snaps and goes off,
Right.
it seems like now he's having to kind of clean up that mess. And I really like that a lot. I'm going to say early, obviously, we don't super dump and super pump until the end of these series. just so
Sure,
that
yeah.
we're
Series
very
finale
clear.
episode. Yep.
If I had to pick a super dump right now, I wouldn't be able to.
Do you like it
I
all?
really love these first two episodes.
Yeah, they're fun.
I had a blast
Yeah.
watching this show.
I'm enjoying it too, and it's really tight. I think everything
It
is
is.
It's
just
very tight.
put together so well. And as I'm like doing all the research and stuff, this is a pretty indiscreetly, no, that's the opposite. Discreetly means not out loud.
Chill. Discreet's
Yes.
like chill. Like keep it quiet.
So this
man.
is
You're all
like
Yeah.
sneakily,
discreet means dis-secret.
this is sneakily like the most illustrious cast we've had in an MCU
Yeah.
Oh, for sure.
show.
It's pretty good.
Because I think people forget, and I'm not like peeved by it, but for the sake of the chunkies, just for getting educated, I would not say, if you're saying that Haley Steinfeld is becoming a big thing right now because of like Hawkeye, that's
out
like
your
when
mind.
that's like when Bon Iver won Best New Artist at the Grammys. It's like,
right. Is he
Haley.
though?
We were talking about this beforehand, but like
Yeah.
Haley was nominated for an Oscar when she was 14 years old for True
Right,
Grit
Yeah.
in
2010.
2010, which
No, she's a legit talent.
Jeremy Renner also had a nomination that year for Hurt Locker, and then the next year would have one for The Town,
Oh, cool.
and then sprinkled in a little bit later. Of course, we know Florence Pugh. Florence Pugh will be showing up at some point. She's one of the top billed actors for this
Yeah.
show. Obviously, a couple years ago with Little Women, she's nominated, and then Farmiga, was nominated.
Vera?
Vera was
Farmiga,
nominated
I
for
believe.
Farmiga Up in the Air with Clooney.
Yeah.
That she had a long time ago,
And
so.
as we're talking about people, obviously we have Linda Cardellini, but Tony Dalton.
her.
who
I'm
I-
so excited
who
for
I
this guy.
only know from Better Call Saul, and I have residual spillover dread from seeing him
Yeah.
on screen.
I'm so excited for this guy. So excited for this villain.
Same. Hey,
Yep.
a couple of things. One,
Do it.
I have two standout favorite things of the series so far.
Okay.
In these first two episodes. Number one is the fact that Clint is wearing a hearing aid, and the explanation given is
Love
the
that.
perfect example of why I'm loving this show so far.
Love that.
It wasn't some big plot point. It was just like, why is he wearing a hearing aid? Oh, yeah. Obviously. That's
So
why
it
he's wearing a
serves,
hearing aid.
serves as a reminder of his humanity. That's pretty directly adapted from a pretty formative Hawkeye run by Matt Fraction and David Aja. The run is often called named after the first volume, Hawkeye: My Life as a Weapon. In Hawkeye,
Yeah.
My Life as a Weapon, in that run, I think it was 2012. So they launched it right after Hawkeye was introduced to wider audiences for the first time. That run sees him teaming up with Kate Bishop, running afoul of the Tracksuit Mafia, and rescuing a dog that the Tracksuit Mafia was beating and throwing into traffic, who is
Well,
Lucky
well, well.
the pizza dog. And I do want to point out, if you look up Lucky the Pizza Dog on the Marvel Wiki, it has a powers and abilities section, because I guess that's just part of the template.
Yeah.
And Lucky's powers are that he is a baseline dog with the powers and abilities common to his species.
I love this.
His weaknesses are decreased visual perception due to his missing left eye and poor health due to pizza heavy diet.
Oh, that's amazing.
Okay,
That's so fun.
so the second thing I was going to list is that I love the Tracksuit Mafia so freaking much. And
Oh my
it's
gosh.
great in every scene.
They are
But
great.
before we move on to that, is this Matt Fraction run the same run that includes Hawkeye explaining to Spider-Man the whole I can't miss thing? Is that from this run?
I think so, yeah.
So I really hope this is included in the show. This is a moment where Hawkeye is exclaiming, I can't miss. And Spider-Man thinks he's being cocky. He's like, okay, I get it. And then Hawkeye basically breaks it down and says, no, I can't miss. As soon as I miss, I'm useless. I'm fighting against guys with super strength and wings and magic hammers and dudes that grow 2 stories tall and can punch through buildings. Like, if I start to miss, it's game over for me.
Yeah.
So I can't miss. And it goes into how he trains obsessively so that he never misses and all this stuff. It's very interesting.
This is the same Matt Fraction run that has entire issues where the dialogue is like captioned ASL panels.
Cool.
It's entirely from Hawkeye's point of view after his hearing aid gets damaged or something. So the entire issue is signed. It also has the annual for that year was told entirely from Lucky's point of view. But this is a super, super like pushing the boundaries of the medium. It's a really, really influential run. It's not terribly long either. It only ran from 2012 to 2015.
So this whole series could be a rip straight from that run.
I'm almost certain that it is. If you look up Hawkeye, My Life as a Weapon, it's the exact same visual design as our credit sequence. Like our show logo is the logo from this run.
Cool.
Like
I
it
love
is.
that.
Yeah, it is exactly this. Yeah,
I love that.
It's
Okay, no
rare,
spoilers,
actually.
No spoilers, Doge.
Yeah, it's rare, actually. I was thinking about that after we finished recording our Spider-Man 2 episode. The fact that we're able to easily point to like Spider-Man No More and Unmasked by Dr. Octopus as like these are very specific adaptation choices rather than just general inspiration.
Yeah.
I feel like we don't do that a ton anymore. That was super common, like to adapt these big like benchmark stories in early superhero blockbuster culture.
Well, I feel like there grew a desire to still be able to surprise and intrigue like hardcore fans, you know?
Certainly. And we'll nod to it with things like Captain America Civil War and like some of the Thanos stuff in Endgame was taken from the like 2014 miniseries, I think. But like by and large, it seems like we're sort of telling our own stories right now. So to see this that is like almost a straight rip from
kind of exciting.
It's exciting. I don't mean to rip in like a bad way. It's not lazy creatively. I think it's cool.
Doge, do you think there is an influence here because of how recently this came out? I think earlier when you're saying it was like 2005 or whenever is when it started, that kind of stood out to me as like, oh, that was, I think we had already had Iron Man at that point, hadn't we? Or not?
Iron Man was 2008. But
Oof,
yeah,
much later.
So Kate was a fan favorite and has been since 2005. But this is like, to me, I think this Matt Fraction run is the definitive like modern take on Hawkeye, especially because it's spinning out of his appearances. Like this started after Jeremy Renner was already cast in the role. So, you know, we first saw Jeremy Renner in like 2011 in Thor, and then this Matt Fraction run comes out. And so people are beginning to have a cultural awareness of, oh, there's a bow and arrow guy on the Avengers sometimes.
Right.
So the Rogers, the musical thing where he's watching it.
It's so good. It's actually really catchy.
Yes, it's so catchy. It's really, really fun. It's a clear homage, we'll call it, to Hamilton.
Right.
It's
Semi-Disney property.
Man, that's the thing. Like, so far, I think what I'm loving is that this series seems to be leaning fun and awesome.
Yeah.
Like it's doing both really, really well. Like I'm laughing out loud. I think the Tracksuit Mafia is hysterical. I think Kate Bishop crashing through the ceiling and that, you know, hey, I found her. Them calling each other bro over and over again is murdering me.
Yeah,
that's so good.
But also at the same time, they're kind of spooky and they're clearly meaning business. And then you have the John Wick action of it all, of Clint catching the Molotov cocktail through the window and hucking it back. I don't know, man. I'm
breaking the window first, right? Did he break it so that he could catch
broke the window to catch it.
Gosh.
The action
fully in.
The action is great with a notable exception to me.
Okay.
I think the fight at the secret auction
Yeah, not good.
is maybe the worst choreography that we've seen in a Marvel show so far. And I know one of the things that we have accidentally stumbled into becoming a grand two chunks and a hunk tradition is just endlessly ripping on Falcon and the Winter Soldier. That choreography was pretty bad, but I think I think that was worse. That is first absolutely terrible.
At first I thought, was this just Kate finding her sea legs? And they were trying to make it look like she wasn't as good at this kind of stuff, and then we'll see this quick progression because I'm fascinated with her like athletic background.
Yeah.
Which it's totally worth at least. I think most people that are watching shows, you have the skip credits. Obviously, you don't want to do that the first time because really, I think a lot of the story is told in our opening credits in terms of her career. She's doing more than just bow and arrow.
Recognize the musical themes as they return throughout the series.
Truly, yeah, that too, but.
No, I think so. We're officially, and I've mentioned this a little bit before with some other Marvel stuff. We're kind of into this part of Marvel where, by and large, I am familiar with names and general concepts, but I really don't know what's going to happen. And one of those people that I am unfamiliar with is Jack Duquesne.
Okay.
I know nothing about this man.
Would you like to?
I don't know. I think maybe I would like the show to tell me about this man.
Okay.
That's what I think. Is he made up for the show?
No.
Nope.
Okay.
I looked this up too.
Did you? Well, now I know. Now I want to know. Tell me off air. I don't want to spoil it.
No, you
for
already
anybody.
chose it. You already chose.
I'm very intrigued by him, and I don't think you picked Tony Dalton on accident.
No. Listen, how brilliant was the scene that we get with Jack to where they're fencing.
Yeah.
Kate, and it's showing really both of how very smart both of them are because she knows she's crying wolf right now.
Yep.
She's yelling like, I can tell this dude is lying to me. And she has such a nose for wanting to basically be Hawkeye. So obviously that's perfect. But at the very end for his parry, when he wasn't even looking, and just the sound that we got and how like it just reverberated. And
that was a great scene.
I'm pretty spooked, honestly. I do both want to see him at his fullest and then don't because I'm worried for the people that I love because I think he's a bad dude. So
I think he's I think the technical term is bad mama jamma.
Yeah.
So let's all be on the lookout for one bad mama jamma.
It's our mama jamma hunt. We found our prey.
The only hunt I'm on right now, though, if I'm being honest with you, is the hunt for that sweet, sweet American currency. And
the hunt for money.
The hunt for money. And the only way to receive that is with an ad break.
'Tis the season for those irresistible ginger thins, cozy blankets for cuddling by the fire, and making home warm and welcoming. For one-stop holiday shopping, visit your local IKEA or ikea-usa.com/holiday.
You need a work schedule that fits your life, and Amazon has shifts that help you make the best use of your time. Whether you're a night owl, early bird, weekend warrior, or somewhere in between, discover the benefits of thinking outside the 9 to 5. You decide whether to seize the day or the night so you can get back to what matters most. Go to amazon.com/shifts to learn more. That's amazon.com/shifts. Amazon is an equal opportunity employer.
Okay, so in review, because we do have 2 episodes we're talking about here, and I think something that happens a lot of the times when we're very excited is we get a little popcorny, which is totally fine because it's appropriate, because that's what you have as a snack when you're watching movies. But our first episode very much was showing, I couldn't help but think of Vulture from Spider-Man, from Homecoming, in terms of cleaning up the aftermath and seeing the effects of 2012. I think one of my favorite things the MCU has done and continues to do is show you, hey, behind the curtain in the wings here, everyone's being affected.
Yep.
Yes.
Yep.
And it's more than just getting a head nod from a cosplayed Black Widow from the Rogers Theater seats. It's like also being able to say, Kate was right there. I loved seeing the scene that it feels like a reshoot, right? Like this is a scene that I remember happening when he's turning around, right? Very epic Hawkeye moment in the first Avengers movie. And her just like, I don't think it was too fast paced. I think they were pretty brilliant with the first 20 minutes of episode 1.
Completely agree.
To set us up. And I think it was fine.
I think that setup thing, I think it was maybe it was the Hawkeye writer for Entertainment Weekly who did the write-up for these 2 episodes pointed this out. But it's a connection I can't I'm like, oh, obviously that's it. This is, I think, what the Marvel Netflix shows tried to do and wanted to do.
But couldn't say
But they couldn't because of the beef between Jeff Loeb and I guess it was Ike Perlmutter, whoever was the head of Marvel Studio, like any weird beef where they could only say like Jessica Jones helped out during the Battle of New York, or like ever since New York things are different, or like I'm not the green guy, I'm not that strong. But like having this actually be like, oh no, that's a clip from Avengers, or it's a little jarring because of the difference in camera quality. But here's a clip of Hawkeye being Ronin from Endgame, or here's a smash cut of actual clips from the movies that we remember seeing. Yeah. To me, that is, I think, what the Netflix shows were aiming at. I do have another thing about the Netflix shows that,
please,
if we're going to can we take a trip as a group?
Yeah. Let's take a trip. That's
to my theory nook.
Take a little trip. Take a little trip with Doge.
Welcome to Doge's Theory Nook. One of the first times in a long time we've been here, and the only time this week until next week, if there's something cool that happens. Echo, our villain, here at the end of this show. She is portrayed by a deaf actress, and the character is deaf, so props to Marvel. That's super cool. Love to see that representation. It's twice now. Twice in a month.
Yeah, and in Eternals as well.
Exactly. Echo is a super villain appearing in Marvel Comics. She is sort of like Taskmaster, with like a photo recall memory. She can kind of replicate any moves that she can see happening. But the important and interesting thing, there are two very interesting things about Echo. Echo, number one, is who passed the Ronin mantle on to Hawkeye. In the comics, he inherited that title and that suit from her.
Wow.
And it's just interesting that we're bringing up all this Ronin stuff, that she seems to be the villain in a very Ronin-centric story. Mm-hmm. The other interesting thing is that in the comics, in the same way that Gamora and Nebula were adopted and raised by Thanos, Echo was adopted and raised by Wilson Fisk, a.k.a. the Kingpin, played magnificently by Vincent D'Onofrio in Daredevil seasons 1, 2, and 3.
Ooh.
Vincent D'Onofrio quote tweeted an announcement about this show and said, super excited to watch Hawkeye with my Marvel family, or something like that.
Interesting.
So here in my theory nook, I'm wearing a hat and a t-shirt, and that hat and that t-shirt say, I can't wait to see you in Hawkeye, Vince, because I have a theory that Vincent D'Onofrio is going to appear in this show as the Kingpin of crime in New York, which will directly...
We're going to canonize our Netflix shows here.
We're going to canonize our Netflix shows, which will directly lead into Charlie Cox being Matt Murdock, Peter's lawyer in Spider-Man
That'd be huge.
No Way Home.
That'd be huge. Let me spill some splay some stuff out. Spill some stuff out.
Splay it.
Let me splay it.
Splay it.
Let me tell you what excites me and what doesn't move my needle at all about this.
Okay.
Charlie Cox, John Bernthal.
Yeah.
And what's her face? Jessica Jones.
Kristen Ritter.
A-OK, sign me right up with all three of them being canonized. The other two shows just never did it for me. And I wanted them to.
I liked Mike Coulter's Luke Cage in Jessica Jones.
His interpretation of Luke Cage in Jessica Jones was fantastic. I think the Luke Cage show... Yeah, so I'm down. Actually, if we want to canonize Luke Cage, that's cool with me
just not
too.
An Iron Fist boy,
Give me a different Iron Fist, maybe.
Well, here's the deal. They don't have to be the exact same ones. They could be variants.
Yeah, that's true.
But go ahead and give us Vince, though. Let's
Vincent D'Onofrio,
for
please.
sure, dude.
Have to. He was one of the best things about Marvel for me for a long time.
Absolutely. He was so good there. That's my theory nook, though. That's the official position of my theory nook, is that Echo is being included in this story for the Ronin connection and the Kingpin connection.
I would also be thrilled for a more MCU-ified Daredevil costume, TBH.
Yeah.
It'd be all right if that was a little more
I'm going to be... I'm not saying I own any kind of corner. I really don't. I'm just here to point people to where the corners are.
Sure.
I work the front.
Carter's sign corner.
Like Seinfeld?
No, like where you point, you're a sign that points to the other corner.
He's like, it's my corner. And it's a stupid thing, but like thinking of Echo, there's a character named Echo. There's also a character in Arcane named Echo who's friends with Vi, and Vi is voiced by Haley Steinfeld. Shameless plug again. Arcane is on IMDb the 14th highest rated movie or
Carter, what is
TV show
what
of
is
all
that?
time.
What is Arcane? I haven't heard of it.
You've heard of it. Arcane is League of Legends show
He's being a doobus.
I'm being a doobus
that
to
y'all need to watch. My friends need to watch. I'm just saying, my friends and my listeners need to watch Arcane. Anyways, Haley Steinfeld, I'm so excited.
She's great. I mean, that's not a surprise to anybody, but she is absolutely great in this. She's so magnetic and she's so funny in this.
Yeah, she's so good. She's so cool. I love the costuming that we have her do. She's just not wearing anything but pants. And I think that's amazing. I think that's so good to just like, I can see her personality without her really getting to say much.
Yeah.
And I think it's a lot of fun. Please hurry up and get Florence on screen.
Please.
So that I can see these three together. I'd love to see them all interacting, especially before Clint dies.
Nah.
In episode 5. Yeah.
Oh, wow.
I do want Clint and Yelena to be able to have a scene together and get both of them get some closure on that.
Mm-hmm.
Can I tell you why I don't think Clint's going to die?
Sure.
Because I think maybe it can be done well.
They're done filming the show and Jeremy Renner's still alive.
He's still alive. So I've seen him in interviews.
So I know. If you die in the show, you die in real life. It's high stakes.
Okay. Well, that makes sense. I should have done the research.
I think for me, unless it's done really well, which I'm leaving room for that possibility, I think it would almost negate Nat's sacrifice in Endgame. Like if Clint doesn't get to end up just like chopping firewood and hanging out with his family forever.
I can see that.
I think that's where
that was her whole thing.
Has to end.
That was her whole thing is like you have
a reason.
Yeah, bad writing and that kind of sucks.
Considering we immediately reveal her sister.
I know that kind of sucks,
later.
and that doesn't really say a whole lot of great things about individuals, so much as just it says something about groups. But her whole reasoning was, you have a reason to live, and I don't.
Right.
Yeah, I think I agree with that. I hadn't thought of that.
I'm just ready for tragedy. I'm ready. Like, let's just take a big dark turn.
Who are you, me?
I don't know. I don't want it either, obviously. But I just know what's good. I just know it's good writing.
That's true.
That's all.
That's true.
Yours makes way more sense than mine, Jordan.
I do want to go on record. I don't know if I've actually officially said this entire sentence. I love Lucky the Pizza Dog and would do absolutely anything for him.
Sure.
Okay.
I've never been more stressed.
When he almost got hit by that twuck, dude.
Yeah.
I was sweating. You don't introduce a one-eyed dog and then kill it, though, is the thing. Like, you just absolutely don't do that.
Yeah. So it's interesting
in the baby. He's got to do
in the comics. In the comics, the Tracksuit Mafia, which by the way is a great band name, the Tracksuit Mafia throws him out in the street, and basically he loses his eye as a result of injuries sustained while rescuing Clint. They have to take him into veterinary surgery, and he ends up losing his eye, but being okay. His main weakness is poor health due to pizza-based diet, which is something that we have in common. But here in the show, it looks like there's a condition. I don't remember what it is. If you
degenerative type thing.
Yeah, it's a degenerative. If you listen, like you know that
macular degeneration.
You know that I just got a puppy, and so I've been WebMDing this little guy every time he breathes. I'm like, is he supposed to breathe like that? Is he supposed to sit like that? Is he supposed to move his head that way?
Do they have a dog WebMD?
I mean, it's just Google. Oh. Yeah, I don't know. There might be a dog one, but it looks like Lucky the Pizza Dog here in the show has a kind of degenerative thing where that eyeball just never formed, which is good because I don't want to see a dog get hurt.
Can we get him a bow wow bow? Can we get him a little? Is he going to shoot any arrows?
Oh, I'm with you. Okay.
Oh, I would love it.
Yeah,
I think that'd be fun.
I would love it. Sure, why not?
Put his little hind legs up, pull back with his mouth.
Why not?
That'd be cute.
Actually, the dog
accidentally
actor,
kills Clint. Man,
the dog actor who is playing Lucky the Pizza Dog does actually have a real life condition, terminal cuteness.
Oh yeah.
Oh, you said terminal, and I was like, "This is the worst trivia ever."
You said you wanted tragedy. You said you were hungry for tragedy.
I am always hungry for tragedy.
Simply delivering.
In the comics, he's often depicted wearing an eye patch like Nick Fury.
Yes,
which is quite cute.
That is so cute. Hey, can we talk a little bit about Kate's mom?
Yeah.
So I think we don't find out until episode 2, maybe that Bishop Security. You know, we had it seems like kind of like the Pym Stark connection. Mm-hmm. It's like you're kind of, I think a battle, like a civil war for the Avengers of like the wealthy and the not would be maybe a fun thing because it does seem like there's a lot of wealthy people with power.
Avengers class wars.
Yeah, class wars. But it does seem like, I mean, outside of being really rich, which by the way, I loved the line that like you're young, so you think you're invulnerable, and then also you're rich, so you think you're invulnerable. I thought that was really good.
Mm-hmm.
But what kind of power does mom hold? I mean, I don't want tons of spoilers, but there's some kind of connection here.
CEO
It almost-
power.
I know, but I don't know. There was something about putting her in the red dress pretty early on that I was like, should I know this? Is this like an iconic costume? Like, who is Kate Bishop's mom?
Kate Bishop's mom was killed in an accident on a hiking trip in Boulder, Colorado when Kate was a little girl.
Oh,
So this is kind of uncharted territory.
okay. Well, here we are.
Interesting.
Yep.
Very interesting. Guys, any more high points from characters that we might not have mentioned yet? Certain scenes that you loved?
Vera is actually maybe a low point for me.
Mm-hmm.
Oh.
I don't think she's doing a great job with this material.
I think there's just a lot of people that are doing a really good job.
Yeah.
And yes, I think from what I've seen, what we know she can do,
Exactly.
you know, it's obvious it's much better than her departed role.
The only thing that I'm having a hard time with her is I think just the writing of her character. I always struggle when a parent ignores the concerns of a child for the excuses of a new loved one. I always have a hard time.
Yeah, the whole like stepdad conflict thing does feel pretty contrived.
Yeah.
That it feels like Vera Farmiga has her eyes and ears closed, and it's just like, no,
Yeah.
trust him. No, trust him.
There's something
No,
about
trust
like
him.
your 25-year-old child being like,
Well, yeah.
hey, something's sketchy here. And mom being like, no.
Well, hey,
No.
did you see how he didn't even look at me and still blocked my sword? And
Yeah.
mom's like, stop being dramatic.
Mom, remember
Are you
which one of
kidding
us
me?
is the fighting expert here?
Yeah.
That was nuts.
That just feels
Yeah.
pretty contrived and soap operatic to me.
Yeah, I don't love that. I don't
Yeah.
feel like her performance is an issue for me, but that material's no good.
Maybe that's
It's
it.
close to that. I mean, do you throw the narrative of like Kate just keeps getting in so much trouble that mom is maybe
Just
just
fed up?
numb to it?
Sure. Yeah, that's valid.
You know, I
Could be
did
it, yeah.
reference earlier there's kind of a cry wolf situation. And she's like, well, I mean, early on her credit cards are canceled. You know, she's basically being shut down. And I think mom's a little bit fed up and trying to make some decisions for her.
Sure.
To an extent, there's no excuse there because that's still incredibly, it's a lot of neglect to your daughter.
For real.
But it didn't feel quite as contrived to me, but I definitely see what you guys are talking about. Plus, I mean, Jack has soap opera hair. So, I mean,
His
it's
mustache is not a good guy mustache.
It's a bad guy mustache.
Just
man.
look at it.
Yeah.
That's the mustache
Everybody
of
knows.
a bad man.
It's not a good man.
Yeah, I've always said that.
Guys, are we ready to end? Are we ready to wrap up here?
Sure.
Yeah.
Next week, we'll have episode 3, which will have us already the halfway mark
Wow.
through Hawkeye,
Wild.
which makes me kind of sad because I think I would like more of this, but I think we're going to appreciate at the end our little small bite of Hawkeye.
Mhm.
But
It's
to
an hors
end
d'oeuvre.
today's episode, it's an hors d'oeuvre. I would love to have your name, and I want you to give me another situation. So we had 2002 and the effects that had on Kate Bishop. We've seen it actually have an echo effect on a lot of people. Sorry, I didn't mean to drop that pun there. A ripple effect. Oh, there's also a hero named Ripple. I'm kidding. Through a lot of characters in the MCU.
About 2012
What
Battle
do
of New
you-
York
yes.
is what you're talking about?
Battle of New York 2012, yes. So the Avengers, I'll open it up to even the solo projects, have really wreaked havoc on the universe. It used to just be the world, but then we introduced Thor, and very quickly the whole universe was kind of being screwed up in the aftermath. What do you think would have been the most traumatic one to be a part of? What is the most traumatic event that maybe we saw on screen that there were just bystanders, there's just regular people around that you think would be the most traumatic one to be a part of? I'm Carter, and I'm going to have to say Genovia?
Sokovia?
Genovia?
That is Princess Diaries.
It's the same. I'm going to have to say Genovia. Sokovia is the one where they lift up, right?
Uh-huh.
Yeah. Uh-huh.
Yeah, that is wild to me. That is life altering to me.
Yeah.
So I'm saying that specific
Yeah.
thing would have been the most traumatic to be a part of. And Genovia is up there.
And Genovia, too. I mean, she's a little American girl. What's she doing over here being our queen now? She's not Genovian.
That's
She's
crazy.
by blood, but
Talk
not
about
by
rock
culture.
in my world.
I'm Doge, and what a lot of folks are too afraid to tell you is that hidden in the background of Guardians of the Galaxy Volume 2, there is also a movie called The Blob That Almost Ate Dairy Queen and Then Stopped Growing, and we don't know why. Because there was some stuff going on with Space Kurt Russell, and he left, I guess, a seed of him on Earth, and it started growing and almost absorbed that Dairy Queen, and then it just stopped once Peter punched him because he said, "You killed my mom and broke my Walkman," or something funny like that.
Yeah.
And the blob just stopped growing at Dairy Queen. And we never saw any Avengers show up. Like Tony Stark or Steve Rogers didn't show up and be like, a good thing we defeated this blob. Rest easy, citizens. It just stopped.
Rest easy.
It's just the dude with the blizzard in the corner, like, oh, not quite.
Yeah.
Okay.
Oh,
Yeah.
Who knows? So any blob, you could be subject to spontaneous blobbening at any point in the Marvel universe.
I'm Jordan. Okay, so the real answer, I think we would probably all agree, is being blipped has to be the real answer. Like coming back and realizing 5 years have passed.
I wish we had done that with Hawkeye's kids. Like if one of them had gotten blipped and it's like, oh, the middle one, you're the oldest kid now.
Yeah, that would have been
Enjoy
crazy.
that dynamic. Yeah.
Right.
So yeah, getting blipped has to be the worst one. I think a second thing is just anybody who was there at the beginning, like living their life when there's an Iron Man flying around all of a sudden.
Before
or like,
it was like a...
Yeah, or like the first time that you're like, there's somebody swinging through New York. Like it's got to be weird. Or like when Tony Stark, the billionaire everybody knows, is like, I'm Iron Man. I don't know, man. That's got to be weird. But my answer is it's easy because it's anybody who had to be exposed to a giant bug in Ant-Man just wandering around doing its thing.
No.
Oh, yeah.
I'd rather die.
That would
I would
be-
rather
When
die.
I would be looking
Anthony's
at
let
bugs
loose in the
real
city.
different in my house.
Yeah, no way.
Yeah, I can't do that. I
Ugh.
can't handle that.
Ugh. That's a good pull.
Nah, I don't even like thinking about it.
Some coffee's fast, but not fresh. Some coffee's fresh, but only after a long wait. Speedway coffee is made fresh at the push of a button, hot or iced, so you can have fresh coffee your way, right away. Find a store near you at speedway.com/locations.